Let's go over how much interest I paid on my credit card debt for the entire month of March, and let me just tell you, this hurts. First up, we have our American Express card, which has about a $3,000 balance on it for $70.64. Next up, we have our Amazon Prime Visa, which has about a $10,600-ish balance, and we were charged $153.79. For our Southwest card that has just over $11,000 on it, we were charged $174.76. Our Capital One card that has around $6,200 was $147.25 in interest. My Bank of America card that has about $4,700 worth of balance on it was charged $100.36. My credit union card that only has about $800 on it has $7.81 in interest. And lastly, our Spirit card that has about $5,800 worth of a balance on it was charged $109.56. What this means is that if we didn't want to increase our balances at all, we just wanted to not make any progress, just stay exactly where we were and not increase our balances, we would need to pay $764.17 just to keep up with the interest charges. And this is why people stay in debt.
Yeah. When I realized how much of my payment was actually paying down my balance, when I realized most of it was going towards interest, that woke me up. Well, what woke me up was I needed money. It was a second wake up call. When I realized what I was paying, if I keep going, I would never pay this debt off because most of it was going towards interest that had nothing to do with the balance. So every month I make a payment and my balance goes down by $10. The problem is most of us bank online. We do everything online where most of us are paperless. We go paperless. So we never really look at the statement or look at the process, the breakdown. We just look at how much is due and make the payment, right? I encourage you to take a look at how much of your last payment went towards interest and how much went towards the balance, because it would really light the fire under your behind to get going, to take care of this debt. You're paying X amount just for interest. This money isn't coming back to you. It's not going towards your balance. And even if you're already in a debt pay down phase, I still encourage you to take a look at how it's broken down, because it will strengthen your resolve when the going gets hard. When it's hard to stick to what you've decided to do to pay down your credit cards, it will push you to make extra payments on your cards. All right. Today, we are going to get tips from everyday folks on how they pay down their credit cards, because nothing sinks in more than other people's experiences.
Let me show you how I paid off this $11K in debt right now. I came up with 7 steps of kind of exactly how I did it. Step 1 is doing an audit analysis. I completely audited my expenses and my account. And if you see here, I made a list of every single thing that I spent money on to see exactly where my money was going. You have the idea in your head that you don't have enough money to pay towards your credit cards. I made a chart right here in Excel with Jaren's help of just how much money I was spending and exactly where it was going to make more sense of what I needed to cut out, where was money going without my knowledge, and everything in between. Next, I made my first budget. So I classified everything between projected of what I wanted my budget to be, the actual budget, I would move some things around. And then as I would pay things, I would have the payment I made, and down here, the remaining I expected to have in my account, which always eventually ended up being much lower. The next one will be to increase your cash flow in some way possible. And before you exit this, the way I did it was by selling my car. I knew I was not going to get a different job. I knew I could not do that, or I didn't have the time to, or I kind of just didn't feel like it. So I sold my car. The next step would be determining how aggressive you want to pay off your debt. After making a budget, I would personally put into a specific credit card calendar and see if I paid $200 a month, if I paid $600 a month, whatever you think you can set aside, figure out how that looks monthly, and then time that out and see how long it would take to pay that off. And I would just track this each pay period and adjust where I needed to adjust, and eventually paid it off. So this brings us to the next step, which is making a schedule and also limiting your use. So probably the hardest part for me was limiting my use. So at this point, I feel like I would have paid it off a lot quicker if I really ingrained that in my mind of, hey, Stop using your cards, because I kept using.
She loves a spreadsheet. And you don't have to be as detailed. And you can tell she enjoys it, right? You don't have to be as detailed. But the key thing here is she's keeping track of her expenses. She's keeping track of where her money is going, right? That's the key point. Whether you do it on a piece of paper and a pen or you use Excel, it's up to you. Or heck, you do it on your phone. It's perfectly fine. Now, speaking of selling cars, this is a very common thing, right? You sell your car so you can take care of that debt, and you can also maybe put the difference towards your credit card debt. Be careful with buying a cheaper car because we need to be focused more on quality. This is not the economy where you end up needing to buy a new car. You know what I mean? This is not the economy where you want to be extra stressed. Well, the stress is already high, right? And paying down your credit card is already going to involve a lot of lifestyle changes, like she mentioned, that you're going to have to sacrifice for. The last thing you want to add on to this pile of headaches, not headaches, but tightness, is a car that is unreliable. The amount of money you pay with the mechanic compared to how much you're saving and puts into as a credit card, is it going to be worth it, right? I think this only applies for those who have super expensive cars.
Someone who recently paid off $20,000 of credit card debt, and I recently paid off my car, so here are all of the lifestyle changes that I've done and all the things that I've stopped spending money on to help me achieve that goal. Just a little backstory and a little context, because you're probably wondering, how does someone even acquire that much credit card debt? It's actually very easy to do if you're not responsible. I had just gone through a very nasty breakup. I had to find an apartment very quickly to live in. Ended up moving in somewhere that I just genuinely could not afford, with the lifestyle that I was living, still going out with friends, still spending money, still going out to eat at expensive restaurants, filling my sad void of being heartbroken just by keeping busy, and that is how I acquired that much debt. So these are all the things that I've done in addition to having a very reduced rent. Number one is I stopped spending my money on alcohol. You really don't realize how much alcohol adds up until you get your bill at the end of the night, and your alcohol bill is the same, if not more, than your food bill. I don't really go out to nice restaurants, but whenever I go out to eat, or if it's a nicer restaurant, I always have a one drink rule. I always have one social drink just to have a social drink with my girls, so I'm not the only one that's not drinking at the table. And I just drink it very slowly, and I make sure to enjoy it. Number two is I don't spend money on food delivery services like Grubhub, Uber Eats, or DoorDash. I just don't believe in them. Like one time I did DoorDash and it was $35 for a Chipotle bowl, and I don't know, it just really rubbed me the wrong way that the delivery fee was more than my actual bowl itself. And I truly believe that if I want to eat out that badly or get fast food that badly, I can get myself in my car, go drive it, and pick it up myself. Number three on the list is that I stopped buying new technology, especially for things that I already have. Like I already have the original AirPods. I don't need any new ones. When I got my first big girl corporate job out of college, I signed up for the iPhone upgrade program, and now looking back, it is the biggest waste of money. So essentially you would get a new iPhone every year, but you were just leasing the phone. So in addition to your phone plan bill, like you would be paying for the phone, but it would never fully be paid off because you would just pay monthly, send it back the next year when the contract was up, and then you get the newer iPhone, and then you keep on paying for that. I promise you, your phone is just fine. Your gadgets are just fine. There's nothing extremely revolutionary about the next new gadget that you don't already have. Number four, I really don't buy clothing that often. I used to buy a lot of trendy clothing pieces, and now they're just sitting in my closet. I had to give them away, give them to Plato's Closet, give them to Goodwill, because I just stopped wearing them. I started slowly building a capsule wardrobe instead, with more basic pieces that I could mix and match throughout the seasons. And for me, I live in Florida, so it's hot the majority of the year, so buying short sleeve pieces, shorts, jeans, things like that I would wear all year round is much more beneficial for me rather than buying the pieces that I'm seeing on my feed on Instagram all the time. Number five, I stopped spending so much money on brand new skincare and makeup, which I know is crazy because I'm primarily a makeup and skincare influencer, and I used to be the kind of person that would go buy the newest skincare, the newest makeup. If I saw it was trendy, I used to go buy it. Now I have a very strict rule for myself. I'm not allowed to open a new bottle of makeup or skincare until the one that I'm currently using is finished. Number six on my list is overly hyped trendy supplements, especially those greens. I used to buy those Bloom Nutrition greens all the time, and they're so expensive. Do they really work? Questionable. Literally just eat your vegetables, get a generic magnesium supplement, get your generic multivitamin. That is all you need. You don't need these trendy influencer sponsored greens. You really have to stop and think to yourself, am I buying this because I need it, or am I buying it because everyone else has it?
I paid off almost $10,000 of credit card debt while still raving, still going to festivals, and I'm going to tell you guys some of the things that I did in order to finally pay it off. The first thing that I did that literally saved my life was I transferred every single credit card balance balance that I had open onto a 0 interest credit card, and I only used that credit card for any like expenses. The next thing that I did was I was so selective about where I was spending my money because this was all money that I did not have. I'm obviously an EDM content creator, so festivals, raves, and concerts are things that bring me joy. I cut out literally like every single other part of my life. In the past year, I could probably count the amount of times that I went out to eat like on one hand. I just did my makeup, and this was the concealer that I used. I've literally had this for like 4 years. It was $5 from CVS. This is the blush that I use every day. My entire time of being in debt, I did not buy clothes, I did not buy shoes, I did not buy anything. The second thing that I did to lower my expenses was the second my lease was up, I moved into a cheaper apartment. Is my apartment nice? Absolutely not. Do I get to save money and still live alone? Yes. I also was working 3 to 4 jobs at any given time. I worked at a gym, I worked in bottle service, I worked as a food runner, a server, I did cat sitting, I was a door dasher. I literally have been posting on TikTok 3 to 5 times a day, every single day for the past year. Like, I'm literally clocking in for my job. And I still live a very frugal lifestyle. And with the consistency of keeping my expenses super low and also working like 18 hours a day, I finally was able to pay off my debt.
Well, there are several ways to eat your bread. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. If there's something you just cannot let go for your mental well-being or whatsoever, that's fine. Hold on to that and then give up everything else, right? It's you don't have to forgo paying down debt because to you, if I can't have my Friday nights with my friend, then life is not worth. Okay, let's not go too far. Then it's not worth it. I will gladly pay my minimum payments every single month. Okay, you're just now just taking it too far as well. How about we just set a budget for Friday nights with your friends and then we don't spend everywhere else? And as a family, what going on with friends? Where, how? So for us that have a family or that have kids, it could be, I cannot cook every single day. Not going to happen. All right, we can do McDonald's twice a week, or we can do McDonald's on weekends. We put a budget, rather than ordering all this extra stuff. We're going to put a budget on how much we're ordering. And so I'm not giving up, that freedom of not cooking 7 days a week, but everything else we're not spending. We're not going to a restaurant. We're controlling how much shopping we're doing, right? So that we can pay off the debt while still enjoying a little bit of, the luxury. Talk about hustle. When you're in that mode where you just want to see the debt gone, you'd be amazed the things you do. You don't have to do 10 different things, but you could do 1, 2 things. You could do Uber. It all depends on how quickly you want the debt paid off. If you have enough discretionary income after paying off your bills that you can put towards paying down the debt, then you don't have to take on all this extras. But then you have to be okay with the fact that it would take a lot longer to pay off the debt.
Get ready with me to tell you how I paid off $20,000 of credit card debt so far this year. Number 1, I went through every single charge I made on every single card I own from 2023 and assessed what I was spending money on. This gave me the ability to see what I could feasibly cut out, where I was overspending, what I still needed to spend money on, etc. 2, I created an actual budget for the first time in my life. I know this is crazy. I didn't grow up in a home that really taught me much about financial literacy, so this was a big step for me. My boyfriend helped me a lot with this. 3, I cut out every single expense I possibly could while still maintaining a comfortable lifestyle. For example, I stopped buying K-Pods cold turkey. I buy coffee beans, grind them myself, and put them in a reusable coffee pod for my Keurig. I also canceled my Amazon membership. My boyfriend has one. There's no reason for me to have one as well. Next, I took a personal loan from a person I trusted. This is not something that is for everyone. In my situation, it was the best option. You can also consolidate your debt into a personal loan from a bank, which also works. You can get a lower interest rate and consolidate some of your high interest credit card debt that way. Next, I started using the snowball method to pay off the remainder of my high interest credit cards. What this is I essentially pick the one with the highest interest rate, start there, I pay as much as I feasibly can within my budget for that month on that credit card until it's completely paid off. Then I move on to the next one. So far, I've paid off, I believe, 4 credit cards this way. I still have a few to go, but I've made fantastic progress and I'm really proud of myself. Next, I created new income streams for myself. I looked at certain monthly expenses that I feasibly could not cut out, like my car payment, and I set goals for those side hustles that I'm doing to pay for those monthly expenses. For example, I do Rover on the side, so I set my Rover goal per month to be $500 of income to rectify my car payment. And this actually made me make even more money on those side hustles. Like I'm averaging closer to $800 a month on Rover, which is really great. Adding in those new side hustles has helped me maintain a more comfortable lifestyle, and I don't have to say no to as many things as I would otherwise. That was just something that I really didn't want to sacrifice, and I feel like I can make good progress in my debt payoff journey without having to sacrifice that. That being said, I also canceled things or declined things where I just don't think it's a necessary expense. We don't go to bars quite as much as we used to unless it's like a specific social event for somebody's birthday, and we try to do minimal spending on drinks while we're out. Also drastically cut down on my expense on clothing. So I'm not really buying much new right now. Last year I maintained my rental memberships throughout the year, and that was a massive expense. This year I'm only renting something if I have a specific event I need to go to, and I haven't been buying clothes just on a whim quite as much as I used to. I try to really make sure anything I purchase has an exact purpose. I'm also going through my closet and getting rid of anything that I don't wear much, and I'm selling it over on my Depop, which you can find in my link in my bio.
Who else held your breath when she said canceled Amazon? Like, what? How do you survive? Listen, most of my shopping is Amazon. I think Amazon has actually gotten me a bit lazy to shop in the stores. You know, that work of going through all this clothes to find clothes is like, oh, you know, I would rather be sitting down and use my filter to filter down to what I need. And I'm sure soon there will be a study on the effect of Amazon in our shopping behavior. So I don't think I can cancel my Amazon, not because I overshop. My husband thinks he doesn't even know what overshopping is. He's misspelled. He has no idea. When you're paying down your credit card, you really have to think outside the box for a lot of things, right? Because at the end of the day, it's a lot easier for you to stick to paying down the cards if it's a little less painful. It will be painful, period. There will be sacrifices made, no two ways about that. But if you can find ways to make it a little less painful, then you're more likely to go further. You're more likely to stick with the plan and get your debt paid off. So wisdom is finding ways to still have some of the fun and the joy and the luxury and the extras without having it cost you so much. Another key thing she mentioned here that unfortunately in today's world, in our world of extreme positivity, which is great, we want to be positive, but we can't deny the fact that sacrifices need to be made. You will have to make sacrifices when you're paying down your credit card debt. It's as simple as that. There's no sugarcoating it. You have to accept that there's certain things you cannot do. Period. Your job now is to get yourself mentally okay with that. You know, when I was paying down my credit cards, I didn't go out to eat. You know, and I was very okay with that because I knew it was just for a short period of time. It was always, oh no, we are doing nothing, nothing that requires spending money. If I were to go back in time, what I would do differently is bring out $20 once a month, you know, and if that means that Sunday once a month I can go out with my family for lunch, cool, and that's fine, right? But the mentality is sacrifices will be made. I wasn't shopping for new clothes, so accept the fact that there will be sacrifices to be made. Thank you all so much for watching. I wish you all the best. It feels good when you've paid it off. You've done something good for yourself. No shame in your game. Unfortunately, we all have reasons why we got into credit cards. A lot of us were not financially savvy. Now that you are, let's go. Let's go. All right. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.